You're here because you did make it on to MasterChef. Even though you didn't get an apron, I was really just, your story struck a chord with me. The way you cooked struck a chord with me.
Yeah, it was a tremendous experience. Probably what I took greatest pleasure in coming out of there was just the people and the friends that I've established now for life, and some amazing fun things we're already doing together.
What's up, Scott?
How are you, man? Great to see you. Sporting the Rangers. I love it.
Threw on some Texas flair for you.
Nice. World Series champs just for a bit still.
Yeah. Well, you're here because you did make it on to MasterChef. Even though you didn't get an apron, I was just, like I said on the phone, really just your story struck a chord with me. The way you cooked struck a chord with me, and I wanted to just chat and talk and learn more about you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It was a tremendous experience. It was a ton of fun, and probably what I took greatest pleasure in coming out of there was just the people. And the friends that I've established now for life, and some amazing fun things we're already doing together, and all in the name of culinary and unique culinary experiences. So, man, it was a blessing.
That's one of the most unexpected things. I think everyone that goes on the show for the first time, they're not aware that that's one of the biggest components of it. I remember going on there, and like my whole my whole demeanor when I first went in, I was like, I'm not here to make friends. I'm not talking to anybody.
Right.
I'm
no
here to
secrets getting out.
Yeah, I'm here to fucking win this thing and take it home. And then it's just humanity when you're locked in the room and you got no one else to talk to. You open up, and then I made lifelong friends on that trip that we still talk today. We've cooked together, and for you it being in there and going home early, you only established good friendships because the longer you're there, some people get on your nerves.
Oh, 100%. There were definitely some of those, even in the short period of time I was there. I was still there almost a month. So, I mean, it's...
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah, I mean, just between the way the filming schedule fell and...
Tell me about that.
Well, I mean, they brought, oh gosh, I can't remember the exact number. It was between 80 or 100 of us. I can't remember.
Oh, yeah.
So we did like a on-site semifinal. So even though we were brought out, we were still competing just to make the show.
Right. Yep.
So the second we rolled off the vans, we were starting interviews, seeing how camera ready we were.
Right.
We started prep cooking.
Yeah.
Competing, and then we had several different rounds that we had to survive just to make the top 40 and actually make the show.
Yeah, I actually remember that. I forgot about that. Yeah. Tell me, I ask everyone this, where were you? What were you doing? What was the catalyst that you were like, I need to try out for MasterChef? Were you just a big fan, or was like someone pushing you to do it, or was it like you need this? Are you like midlife crisis? You need a change? Like what happened? What was going on?
Yeah. So for me, I've been cooking my whole life, and I've had family and friends. They pushed me to try to open a restaurant forever. And I had a really long, successful sales and marketing career in the corporate world, and ran some large sales organizations in several different industries and was successful. But cooking was always my passion. But raising my two now adult daughters, and as busy and talented as they were, man, I didn't have time to really pursue it. So the way I got into it, I'd always wanted to apply. And my wife, Kim, was on a girls trip last February of last year. I was home alone with my dogs. It was pouring down rain all weekend. I'm like, man, this is a perfect time to do it. If you're going to do it, try to find a link, send something in. So I looked around, and it was not an open casting. They weren't even looking, but I found an old link, recorded about a 2-minute video, dumped it in there last February, and then kind of forgot about it. And then fast forward to like June of last year, my phone starts blowing up, and I'm bad about not answering numbers if I don't really know who it is. And after about 3 or 4 days, they wouldn't leave a message. And after 3 or 4 days of the same number, we were at dinner with friends, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I got to go take this call. And I stepped out, took the call, and it was MasterChef saying, hey, we saw your video. We're extremely interested in you for the new season. And that started the whole journey.
Wow. And what's so crazy is when you sent that email, you had no idea that they were going to be doing this whole generations thing.
No, exactly. I didn't know what the theme was. I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
And
so
then
what did they...
Go ahead.
What did they ask you to do when you got that first call? What did they ask from you after that?
So yeah, that started the gymnastics, right? So over a period of when that call came in June up until we finally got the news that, hey, you're coming to LA to compete for a spot. That whole time period, I mean, outside, I was heavily still in my sales and marketing consulting business at that time. So in the evenings, my poor wife runs a real estate brokerage. So in the evenings, she would have to film me. Like it felt like every other day they had requests, that you did great, but let's see a video doing this, or cook with these ingredients, or set the camera up and let it just run for 60 minutes straight, uninterrupted, just different crazy things. So, I mean, there was a lot to the process, but all of that really inside of me, it started building my passion more and more for cooking. So.
Oh, good. Yeah, I hated that part. When I auditioned, well, I had a similar situation. I emailed them. I found a link, and luckily the link that I found an email. I just found a Cassie email, and I sent the email, and it went through, and they actually called me 20 minutes after I sent my email.
Oh, dang.
But yeah, they gave you all that homework. Yeah. And I was just like, this is so like, you guys are asking so much, and you want it with such a quick return. Yeah, they want it so fast. Right. And I'm like, guys, I am broke as a joke right now, and you want 4 different dishes from me, 4 different recipes. Like, I can't afford to go buy all that food right now.
Yeah.
That was tough, but I remember that every little bit that they asked me to send in either came back in a challenge. There was one day they were trying to throw it off and disguise it. They were like, can you send us videos of your closet, your bedroom, your living room? We want to see how you live, your kitchen, inside your refrigerator.
Yeah.
And I'm not stupid. I'm like, I don't let anybody see in my refrigerator unless it's immaculate. So when I did film my refrigerator, I remember going to the store first, and I put a bunch of really nice ingredients. I got like different colors of cauliflower and rainbow carrots, and
it looked like the MasterChef kitchen in that fridge.
I made it look good.
Yeah.
And then one of our first challenges, we lift up the box, and they're like, it's ingredients from your refrigerator. And so I had the best box in the whole challenge.
There you go.
But that's just, me being particular.
Yeah.
But yeah. So when you went to do your first in-person audition before they flew you to LA, did they have you go anywhere in Texas and have you bring them a dish?
No.
Really?
No. So we competed basically offline for several months that summer leading up to the fall. And then, there are 2 or 3 times, like you said, it was a lot where my wife had to talk me off the ledge. I was like, man, I don't know how much more time I can stick into this.
Yeah.
Right. And luckily we kept our head down and kept through it because the reward at the end was substantial. So it was worth it. But
what was the first thing you cooked for producers when you got to LA and they were giving you challenges and stuff?
So that kind of put me in the Texas box a little bit, but I'm comfortable there, right?
Sure.
So it was the mustard fried venison backstrap.
Oh, before you even before you went on camera, you made that dish for them.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was part of competing, competition off camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, and then when you got on camera and you cooked that dish, I was shocked. That dish was, it was so good. And it showed, like, I think, did Joe say something about lack of seasoning?
Yeah.
And and it's like that's an easy fix. Like, let's talk about like the fact that you chose that cut of meat, and like your presentation was really good. And like for some of the other auditions in that episode, I was just like, it didn't make sense.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. I mean, I'm holding on. That dish is really good. I've made that dish for years. And
Yeah.
I mean, when I make it at home, of course, you've got time for a 24-hour soak on that venison. So I do like a mustard milk seasoning bath. So that thing was seasoned on all layers between the milk and the bath. It set in for at least half an hour on the show. Usually I would do it overnight, but you can't, right? But then the meat itself got seasoned, and then my breading and my dredge got seasoned too. So, I mean, yeah, that was something that I just kind of had to take, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's good to see that you're making the best of it.
That's right.
And that I mean, like just off your Instagram and our conversations, you're busy cooking now.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's from my consulting business to cooking, that ratio is probably 99% cooking. Like I've still got a little bit consulting stuff I'm doing, but we are in the blessed zone and we're moving forward. So
wow.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
Well, I look forward to getting back out to Texas and us doing a little throwdown together.
You know it. That will be scheduled for sure, my friend. Look forward to it.
Yeah. So these dinners you got going now, tell me like what you're doing, how you're figuring it out, what's the hardest part? Where are you?
Oh man. So I'm doing a little bit of everything, right? So what I've realized is there's niches and spots for obviously everyone in this industry to find their passion and what they're really gets them going. And what I'm trying to deliver on, and so far we're doing a really good job, is really these high-end curated culinary experiences. So where we'll either combine a tasting and pairing menu, several courses. I'm part of a wine club, and I've got a lot of friends that are sommeliers. So, I mean, we can do some badass pairings and do some really cool stuff with food and wine together. I've done corporate events. I've cooked out at ranches in Texas for partners of a big accounting firm. I've done a lot of birthday celebrations. I did a wonderful dinner, and they ended up getting proposed to at the end of my dinner in their home. So, I mean, that's probably the thing that has killed me more about this whole process is the experiences, the life experiences that I'm getting to be a part of that we're delivering to the community. And that part to me is killer. I love it.
Yeah. Super cool. Everyone goes, like you said, everyone's like going through their journey, trying to figure out what their path is. And I did the same thing. It was like I was throwing spaghetti at the wall when I first came off the show. But I think my favorite is doing the high-end pop-up dinners with selling tickets with strangers and putting them all at the same table and seeing what happens. It's wild. Like I'll look at my Instagram or my Facebook and I'll see where two people became friends at one of my dinners and they're off just like they've become best friends. They have, they're doing business together.
Isn't that amazing?
It's super cool. And then, and that's all just because you're putting food on a table and sharing like the love and experience of what you like to do, and people are coming together. And that's just like a microcosm of like what our whole world should and could be,
100%.
It's like so much of this fighting and divide could just be solved at a dinner table.
Yeah, totally. I agree. And
right.
that part of it's so rewarding and so fun. And when you see people, to me, like the other night when you're looking at 25 people in for a curated experience and then you're seeing plates whiz by you, man, and they're licked. When I say licked clean, I'm talking, I mean, just that's everything. Like that's the fuel, right? And when you get those experiences and you see those people developing relationships outside of your venue or outside of your home or wherever the experience is taking place, I agree with you 100%.
So let's go way back. Tell me about younger Scotty. Like what was childhood like? You grew up in Texas? Like how was that?
So it was amazing. So I was very athletic growing up, so I was always involved in sports year round. As I got older, I kind of settled into two sports, so football and baseball.
What was your position in baseball?
I was a catcher.
Oh, nice. God, I loved playing catcher.
Yeah, so fun. So
Catcher's like the chef of the field. You're controlling the game.
exactly. And
Yeah.
it's physical, which was a big part of my whole thing in every sport I ever played, right? So it's physical. You're a part of every play. You got all the gear on, the collisions at home plate,
Yeah.
throwing people out.
Oh,
I mean, just it was fun. So between baseball and football, leading up through high school, and both those sports are huge in Texas, right? So I mean, sports are everything here. So
yeah. Yeah.
playing those at a high level at the highest Texas 5A high school, and then had chances. I was blessed with chances to play both sports in college, and TCU came knocking, and I had an opportunity to play football at TCU. They moved me from middle linebacker in high school. They moved me to strong safety in college, and
Wow.
played a lot of special teams. And that was back in the Southwest Conference. So that was TCU, Texas, A&M, Arkansas, Houston, Baylor, Rice, Texas Tech. So, I mean, that was just a tremendous experience.
And what do you obviously there's a lot of discipline when it comes to sports. Do you still feel like you're using things that you learned or
Every day.
Yeah. Yeah. You still hold on to them.
100%. Yeah. And in fact, what's cool is for me, it'd been 25 years or more since I'd been under the lights in the arena, had the pregame jitters, right?
Right.
Had the massive amount of preparation that everyone on the show goes through just to get to LA. And then if you survive as you're going through the gauntlet to make the show and then hang around, right? I leaned into those experiences that I had felt, riding in those shuttle buses to the studio every day.
Right,
it was like
right.
riding the bus to the stadium, right?
Yeah, to the game, yeah.
There was like awkward silence in the bus at times, man, where everyone's just like puckered, right?
Right, because one thing when you're in high school or in college and you're riding to the game, you're riding with your team. In MasterChef, you're riding with your competition, which is a wild situation to be in.
For real.
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny you describe it that way, because I felt that when going through it. I approached it like I worked like an athlete. I made sure every movement I was hustling.
I could tell.
Yep.
I could tell watching you cook.
But then the way I developed a dish was from like the artist perspective and a musician. Like how I was building the dish was like how I would build a song. So
Sure.
yeah, but you take from those very important moments in your younger years and when you can still apply them. That's it. That's why it's like so important that like these kids get off their phones and get out there and do a team exercise, 100%. A team challenge. You know?
100%. I mean, what I love about, baseball and catching was hard too, but football in particular, it is hard. Like it mirrors life. Life, man, there's elements of life that are tough, man, hard. So I'm forever grateful that I had the experiences and the ability to play a sport like that for as long as I did and at a very high level. And that discipline, that ability to focus, that ability to know where to apply my time effectively, all those life skills were built for me through athletics and football. And then those carried over into my entire business career. And what's really fun now, as I'm building my culinary business, those same disciplines and principles are proven successful yet again.
Yeah.
And so it's cool.
Yeah. It's, I always you see people that talk down on like sports and they're like, well, why do people watch, football and it's a kid's game. Like, it's like, no, like there's really important life lessons that you learn in a team sport and how to navigate working on a team in a team sport and then going out into the world in your business. You learn when you have to step up and be a leader, and you learn when you have to fall back and be the support and so much.
How to work with all types of people, right?
Yeah.
And there's not a successful kitchen I've ever seen run. You got all types of people in a kitchen.
Yeah.
And you got a brigade, and if you got a big service you're trying to pull out, you better make sure everyone can work and support each other effectively for the common good, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And there's not even sometimes there's people that you're not going to get along with, but you still got to figure out how to work together.
Correct.
But it's you can see how a lot of the future generation isn't getting that,
Yeah.
And maybe they are in video games though. Maybe I don't know, because there are a lot of video games where you play as teams.
Right.
And so maybe it's just different. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a little different just because you're across a screen, right? That human to human connection,
right?
And being in the locker room, just like all your MasterChef buddies and my MasterChef buddies. That's a shared common experience that we went through together.
Right.
Therefore, that bond, right, is stronger, and a lot of people don't understand it, right?
Yeah, it's definitely. But then again, a lot of our world now is just on screens, and look at us right now. So
that's right.
I guess it's an evolution of it.
There's pros and cons to all of it. 100%.
Weird evolution of it. You've got two daughters.
Two daughters, Macy and Molly. So my oldest, she's kind of in the industry. She's a sales consultant for Cisco Foods.
Oh, wow.
So she's selling to restaurants and bars, and she's just killing it. She's 2 years in to that job. She got a business degree at University of Oklahoma and then came out, and that's been her first job out of college. And then my youngest, she's 23. She's a professional dancer. So she left the house at the age of 18, went to a 6-month trade school in Vegas, and instantly landed a show and has been performing around the world ever since. So.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. And my oldest was a competitive basketball player. She had multiple opportunities to play in college, but she wanted the big time college experience. They grew up around football, so she wanted that big experience. But so both kids very talented. We're very blessed.
You got to be proud.
Yeah, definitely. Proud and blessed.
What's the secret? What advice do you give to a young dad out there?
Man, I got to give my parents a ton of credit, and same thing for my wife's. Like, I think a big part of it is you got to have active, engaged parents, right? That are really mentoring their kids, and especially in this landscape, like you're talking about all the devices and being online and connected. You got to be creative as a parent to really keep your kids grounded and give them the life skills to really hopefully be successful and develop and instill the work ethic in them. That's one thing. My wife and I both, one thing we'll do for sure is we'll get on the mat and we'll work. So
how did you do that with your daughters? What is like something that you could say this is how you instilled the work ethic?
Yeah, so I think both of them, we let them at a young age, we let them chase everything activity-wise, right? Dance, soccer, basketball, gymnastics, playing the piano, whatever. We just wanted them busy, and we wanted to expose them to as much as we could. And then as their natural talents and their interest levels started aligning to a fewer subset of things, then we started specializing their craft, helping them with training. And both of them fell into Macy into basketball and Molly into dance. They fell into those tracks pretty early on.
Yeah.
And then we gave them the ability and provided resources to hone and train those crafts. And both those kids took it upon themselves. They loved it.
Wow.
And they would work on their own when mom and dad weren't around. Right.
That's excellent.
So
that's awesome. Well, that sounds a lot like what my parents did with me. So I could tell it was in there. That's really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. My parents growing up, it was anything we wanted to do, they would let us try it. It was a little tough because sometimes financially, like my parents just couldn't afford it. Like my brother Dusty really wanted to play hockey, and hockey is just
so expensive.
Such an expensive sport. And then also 3 boys is a little different because we're all like, we also like compete with each other. I mean, I wasn't necessarily competing with my brothers, but it was like everything that I did, my brothers wanted to do. And then like my games would be bigger or better or more important, kind of, to where like my mom couldn't be at like all of our baseball games. She's like, I gotta go to Derrick's. His is a championship game. And so then my brother would get upset or whatever. So then it got to a point where it was like Dusty got to play street hockey. And I was like, I want to do street hockey. And my mom was like, no, this is Dusty's sport and you're not playing. And I was like, what? I was like so shocked because she was just like, no, he needs to have something that's also his.
Yeah.
Because one thing that we, like all my brothers, like we pick something up and we get good at it real quick. Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
Like we figure it out real fast. We everything from
natural ability.
Yeah. Except surfing. That one I couldn't do. I couldn't do surfing.
I'll boogie board, but I haven't been able to graduate to surfing either.
Dude, it was the hardest sport I've ever tried. It was the hardest sport I ever tried. Do you have a favorite? We're just like bouncing around here. Do you have a favorite moment as a catcher?
Oh man, I do. I've got one that it's forever ingrained in my mind just because it was so unique. So, and that's so fun that you asked that. So this is a long time going back, but we were playing a suburban town with South Grand Prairie. We were playing in a big holiday tournament there and catching. I remember a ball got hit to the wall. So we had a relay throw coming in, and the throw was a little short. So I stepped out quite a few paces in front of the plate to catch the relay throw. The guy was already going to score, but this dude was coming around second, and he got halfway between second and third. And where I was, I threw my mask off and just sprinted right at him in all my gear. And that dude's eyes, I'll never forget, his eyes are like saucers. And I'm coming Mach 1 right at him, and he freezes, and I just blow the guy up. And it
That's amazing. Oh, that's awesome. I played a lot of second base. I was second base and leadoff batter.
That's so fun. You had to have been fast then.
Oh, I'm not kidding you. Okay, I'll tell you a little story. My cousin Marcus, we always played on the same baseball team together. We were like inseparable. So he always played catcher. He had all the gear, everything. So I never got to try out for catcher, although I really wanted to, right? So I locked in at second base, being a smaller guy on the field, scrappy, really fast. Like you couldn't hit a ball in between first and second base and expect it to get by me. It wasn't happening. But I said to my coach one day, I was like, yo, we're the best team in this league. We're beating every team by 10 runs. I was like, if we go up by 10 runs in the next game, can I play catcher? And he said to me, I'll make a deal with you. He goes, put on the suit up. He was like, and I'm going to put my son on first base. I'm going to throw you a pitch. And if you can throw him out at second base, I'll do your deal.
Wow, that's pretty good.
And I was like, okay, so we're at practice. Everyone's just watching. We've got now an exhibition. And I get behind the plate. He throws the ball, and I dropped that ball on second base so clean, like it was like I threw it into a fly trap. Like I just stuck that thing right on the bag, and I had Leon out by like 3 feet, and he just turned to me. He's like, "Damn it, Derrick, why he's so good?" So then it was like the rest of that season. Every time we were up, Marcus is like, can Derrick catch? Because Marcus would just be sweating. He was one of those guys that like sweat through the pads, and it was like got kind of gross. But anyway, so I had a Colorado Rockies scout sit down with me in Colorado. I was going into my freshman year of high school, so I had already made a lot of waves and a lot of noise. When I was in middle school, the high school coach was having me come one day a week and do training with the high school team.
That's sweet.
He was gearing me up to get in there. And then first few weeks into school, the coach sat down with this scout, and my parents were like, you have to move Derrick to a warmer climate so he can play year round, because we were living in Colorado at the time.
Right.
And so we moved back to Florida, and I showed up to this high school, and I'm a freshman, and I show up to the tryout, and I showed up to the varsity tryout. And you have to sign in, you have to put what grade you're in. And so I'm the only freshman at the varsity tryout. And the coach is like, yo, what are you doing here? I was like, I'm trying out. He goes, you got to try out for JV or
the freshman team.
The freshman team. And I was like, why? He was like, because you're a freshman. I was like, yeah, but I can play. Like, let me try out for varsity. If I don't make varsity, then put me on.
Right.
I was like, but why can't I? He's like, no, freshmen do not play varsity. And I'm like, I don't understand. I kept like, I don't understand. And so he wasn't having it. And he was like, Robbie plays second base for the varsity team. And I'm like, who's Robbie? Right. And I'm like, I find out who Robbie is, and I'm faster. I'm all around better than this kid. And I'm like, I was like really annoyed.
Yeah.
I found out later Robbie's dad bought the uniforms for the team. So
yeah,
there was no budging on that. But so I go down to the JV tryout, and the varsity team's out at the batting cages with the varsity coach, and I'm with the JV coach, and our first drill was to line up at home plate and run to first base, and he was going to time it. They were trying to build the lineup, and it's my turn to get up, and they say go, and I run from home plate to first base, and he goes, I messed up, go do it again. And he's like, the stopwatch didn't
oh,
click.
come on.
And I'm like, all right, so I go do it again. And he his eyes are just like, no way. And he was like, I was like, what is it? He's like, I'm not telling you. And I'm like, tell me. He's like, I'm not telling you. He goes, do it one more time. He was like, he made me do it 3 times in front of the whole team.
Wow.
Like, fast. I'm fast. So then I do it a 3rd time, and he calls the varsity coach down. So the varsity coach comes down, and he's like, watch this. And he goes, all right, Derrick, go. And then I go, and he was like, wow. And they would never tell me what it was. I don't know how fast it was.
Man.
But anyway, it was like that. And then the first game, so like I knew I moved to a new town. You'll appreciate this. I moved to a new town, so no one knows who I am. Colorado, if I stepped out on a baseball field in Colorado,
what's up.
Yeah, they knew. Coaches. I had coaches offer me money in middle school. They're like, "We'll throw you $50 a week if you come play at our team." I was like, "That's illegal."
Go to the All-Star team for the big tournament or whatever.
Yeah.
I had lots of those conversations.
Right,
too.
right.
It's
It's crazy. Looking back on it, it was so crazy. It almost doesn't even feel real. But anyway, so I know I'm in this new town. I know that no one here knows me. So I'm leadoff batter, and I was always leadoff because my on-base percentage was fantastic. So none of my coaches even know this. I can bat switch, but I only bat switch once in a blue moon if I need to, like, to mess with a pitcher's head.
Right.
So this is first game, first pitch, first bat. I'm walking out to the home plate, and I get up left-handed, and my coaches are like, "What are you doing?" And they're all like looking at me like, wait, you're left-handed now? Like my coaches were even mad. And so I get up left-handed, and first pitch, I lay down a bunt up the first baseline. And so I would bunt left-handed just to get that extra step.
Right.
And I lay this beautiful bunt up first baseline, and I get on first, and I'm laughing all the way to first because I caught everyone off guard. First baseman ran in, catcher ran for the ball, pitcher ran for the ball, and the second baseman's on his heels. No one's at first base. It was hilarious. And the coach was like, I didn't give you the bunt sign. I was like, I'm leadoff batter. I don't get it. I don't need any sign.
Right.
I'm like,
I'm on first base. Like,
I'm like, I'm here. I'm on first.
Right.
And I was like, guess what? First pitch, I'm stealing second. And he goes, no, you're not. Sit here and wait. Let's pace this game out. I was like, no, I'm stealing second. And he was like, Derrick, you get thrown out. He's like, I'm sitting you the rest of the game. I was like, there's not a catcher in Southwest Florida that can throw me out. So I take my lead. I steal second on that first pitch. So now we're 2 pitches into the game, and I'm on second base.
The man's already in scoring position.
Yeah. But I'm greedy, and I know what I'm capable of. And I'm looking at third base coach, and I give him a nod, and he's like, and I was like, and I take this big old lead, and I stole third. 3 pitches into the game, I'm on third base, and he's smiling but mad, and he's like, I did not tell you to do that. If you were thrown out, you're out. I was like, yeah, but
I wasn't.
but I'm not. And this is a game. This isn't a game of ifs. I'm on third base. Now all he has to do is put the ball in play, or there's a pass ball and I score. And there was a pass ball on the next pitch.
Oh,
4
wow.
pitches and I'm at home.
1-0.
I'm on home. Yeah, it 1-0.
Yeah.
And then we go back out in the field in the first inning, and I think the pitcher like walked the first guy. And then there was a hit up the middle, and I had to jump really high for this, and I snagged this line drive out of the air, and then threw it over to first and scored a double play. And literally, when I got back in, the coach was on the phone with the varsity coach and was like, "Hey, you need to come see this kid play." And then we didn't get along. He ruined my baseball career because I played like that, and he didn't like it because I didn't need to be coached. I needed to be like fostered. I needed to be like this is where we take you, not like beat me down and make me play his game.
Developed.
Yeah. And so we didn't get along. And then I don't know, he ended up just ruining it for me. And he finally went to call me up to varsity, and he was like, "I'm going to have you pitch run for the catcher." And I was like, "Man, I've turned down track every year of my life. Like, no, I play second base, and if you're not putting me a second, I'm out." And then I quit, and I started playing drums.
There you go.
Anyway, that was a long-winded story, but I don't ever get to talk baseball with anybody, so I thought you'd appreciate that.
Well, hell yeah. I'm good. Man. Food, sports, you name it.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have a good time. So I know we kind of spoke about a date on the phone, but we can set up a little bit. We can talk about it a little more if that date still works, or if we need to pick a different date. How much time do you usually promote your dinners?
Man, lately I've got like a pre-invite text list just from past clients, and within 2 or 3 hours we're sold out usually.
Wow.
So we're not there's not any big promotion needed yet at this point. So we're building a pretty good following. And I've got a friend that had been in the catering and private chef business that used to work at a software company with me. And in early 23, when I kind of started on that side of the business as a side hustle to kind of put my toe in the water, he said, "Man, I'll tell you the most important piece of advice I can give you is try the best you can to never say no to a job. And the more you do, the more you will do if you treat people right and provide a great product and a great service."
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Those were all really good advice that this guy gave me, and I've leaned into those tenets. And I mean, when I first started doing this, I was doing a lot of weekly meal prep for people, not glamorous, not really what I want to be doing, right? But it helped me build a following. It helped me build people posting my food, saying, "Oh my gosh, if you got a chance to go to an event for this guy," or if like a couple families just had new babies, so I cooked for them like for a month at a time because their family didn't have time to cook. So just some really cool experiences. And just by not saying no and doing work that's sometimes not glamorous and just rolling your sleeves up, it's helped build that community.
Yeah, very good, man. Well, I'm excited. What else do you got? Are you just using Instagram, Facebook? Do you got a website or anything?
I do. I've got a website, so chefscottymac.com. So I've got a website that's got good pictures and content, and all my socials are on there. Spending a fair amount of time on the larger events, capturing good content that can be reshared. That stuff's been very effective and helpful, as you know. Great pictures and videos to let people see a sense of the type of environment and engagement and experience that you're providing is very, very critical.
Well, Scotty, I don't know, man. We covered it. Anything else you want to share, talk about? Now's the time.
Well, I think just it came up on the show a little bit, and really it's a big passion for me. So, I mean, my great-grandfather owned 5 restaurants between Houston and Dallas, and all I can tell you is that, when I see my daughters and their passions and their skill sets, and especially my youngest with her dance career and what she's done professionally at an early age, I mean, she's committed herself and trained, but some of that, I feel like we're all given some gifts, right? And I really do feel like the culinary side, the private chef business that I'm finally really into full time, I mean, that's a gift that I got. It's in my heritage. It's from my great-grandfather. I can feel it every time I cook, and it's in there.
That's awesome. Yeah, we kind of go. I forgot to even bring that
fine.
part up.
That's fine.
I mean, you got your last names on a street in Fort Worth, right?
In downtown Dallas, yeah.
Oh, downtown Dallas. My bad. Yeah,
Yeah. So he had
that's amazing.
Yeah, he had a handful of restaurants between Houston and Dallas, and he had some really cool buffets that serviced the day workers. Like he kind of found a way to service all aspects of the community. So
Okay.
he had buffets for the day workers, and then I've got some old menus that are a trip, from the high end champagne dinners with an orchestra, and just it's
Wow.
really fun to see that stuff from, it was like between 1914 and 1930. So it was crazy to see how high end some of that stuff was even back then.
Even then,
Yes.
wow.
Crazy.
Oh,
Caviar, table service, Chateaubriand, like
Yeah.
it was crazy.
Wow. Wow. Dude, I want to see some of those. That's cool.
Yeah, when we get together, I've got a bunch of that stuff. We can go through it. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
All right, Scotty. Well, I'll let you get back to it. You're busy. You're busy now.
All right. Hey,
All right,
Derrick,
brother.
thanks for having me so much, man. It was a pleasure. You're awesome. You've been so helpful. You're a mentor. You're extremely talented, and you've been a hell of a connection. And I'm forever grateful. I appreciate it.
I appreciate that too, and I can't wait to get in there and share some tricks back and forth with each other.
All right, man. Take care.